one of our listeners has asked for me to discuss how are executors compensated, and that it is a time-consuming and difficult job, which is a very interesting question. And by the way, Jane asked me that question when we first met in our meeting that day. The issue is each state has a procedure for awarding commissions. The payment of attorney's fee, the payment of compensation for doing that work is referred to as commissions. Most states have a schedule that is a sliding schedule based on the value of the estate. And there are two different components. One is the aspect of it relating to how big is the estate. So it isn't simply a numbers game. As you can imagine, having an $11 million estate that's just stock and bonds would be less complicated to administer than a family business that sold stocks that's in the middle of a lot of litigation that has property interests. So for example, in some states, the typical schedule is 2% of the first, 5% of the first 200,000, 3.5% of the next 700,000 or 800,000, depending on the state, and then between 2.5% and 3% of the remainder of it, again, depending on each state's statute. There's also a provision that provides for what's called income commissions. So let's say mom's estate isn't made up of a stock company, but she's got real estate holdings. And every year, the estate during its administration is realizing a couple of $100,000 in rental income net. Now the executor is entitled to get a percentage of the income as well as the commission for the overall work involved. And just to be clear, the commission on the overall work is a one-time payment that's payable at the end of the administration process.